Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of EDF Sports Podcast. We are back after a long delay of the holidays, all that fun stuff. We are finally back, and we're back to talk NFL football. I got with me right now my partner in crime, Lamar Fields, as always. How you doing, Lamar?
Pretty good yourself?
Not too bad, man. It's been fun. It's been fun. All of sports has been fun for a while. We have Liam who will be joining us here shortly as well. We'll kick him in, but for right now, man, how have you been enjoying the playoffs, the end of the NFL season and all?
Enjoying it. Last week was kind of disappointing. A lot of games I thought were going to be close turning to blowouts, but this weekend should be great.
They did, huh? I mean,
Yeah,
I was looking at those games thinking there were such good matchups, There were a lot of good matchups, and all of a sudden they turned out to all be blowouts. So
yeah,
that was kind of disappointing. I'm sure the stations that did it were not happy either.
yeah.
But yeah, but bringing with that, and I know another reason why you were a little bummed about last week, your team, the Raiders,
Yeah,
got beat. They made it to the playoffs, though. Got to
yeah.
hand that to them, hands down. I didn't think they were going to do it, but they did it, so I give them some credit there. But what I wanted to ask you, first of all, what happened in the game? What do you think? What do you think took place in that game that gave Burrow that looking like a superstar?
Uh, just a lot of self-inflicted wounds from the Raiders. Have a big play, call back for a holding penalty. It's a penalty offensive line. Offensive line was protecting. Bonehead mistakes where you got a tight end or your backup tight end who's not known for blocking the Bengals' best pass rusher. And you got the guy ball about to go out of bounds, and he feels the ball goes out of bounds at the 1 yard line. So instead of having the ball at the 40, we got it at the 1.
Mental mistakes,
Mental mistakes,
right?
and
So
still had a chance to tie it at the end, which the play call was hideous. We got your best two players running 5 yard out routes and only one player in the end zone. So a lot of stuff that self-inflicted stuff that went on. I mean,
right. So
yeah,
when you're saying that too, though, are you because one of my next questions for you was going to be Rich Bisaccia, right? Um Bisaccia, whatever, right? um is that your guy? Or did he earn himself enough to be your guy? Or are you looking at somebody else? I mean, how do you feel about him and what he did over the season?
he did
Especially
a
because the ending there.
he did a good job for what he was dealt with all the issues the Raiders had with the coach Gruden, Henry Ruggs, and David Arnett, and won the last 4 straight games. But he did enough to get the job. But I don't know if he's gonna get the job. If he does get the job, he needs to replace that offensive coordinator. Um,
As a longtime fan, though, which you've been
yeah,
probably your whole life, right?
yeah.
I mean, is that who you want to see them have? Is that or is there somebody out there that you would rather have, or would you rather they look? Like as a straight Raiders fan, how do you feel?
If my honest opinion, I want them to take a look at Harbaugh, but I just want them to do it the right way. Hire the GM first and let the GM come in and conduct the interviews along with Davis for the coach. Don't hire the coach first and the GM. I hate when teams do that. Don't seem like it ever works when they hire the coach then the GM.
Right, right. Now you're coming in calling me my boss, but I've already been here, right?
Yeah, so I mean we'll see. Versace already interviewed, which I found strange, but you interviewing a coach already, and you still trying to conduct an interview. So that makes me wonder if he really I think he got an uphill battle. I mean, he did great. I mean, the players want him back, but like you said, I've been a Raider fan my whole life. And I've seen a lot of times where Raider players want this coach, and it turns into
How did
4-12. Or
how is the attitude there though with Raider Nation? Do you hear a lot of rumblings like you were talking about those mental mistakes though and
yeah,
all? Does
yeah.
that come back on him or I heard you say you'd rather the offensive coordinator be gone? So
It was weird because the last Raiders had penalty problems all year. The last month of the season, they pretty much cleaned it up. Then during the playoffs, it reared its head again.
Yeah.
And I just always hop back to those games against the Chiefs, man, where he was severely outcoached. And if you want to be good in that division, you got to beat the Chiefs.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So
I mean, I say as a Bronco fan, but it still goes through Kansas City right now, and it will until probably Andy Reid leaves at least.
And another key factor, Raiders won a lot of close games, which are good, but normally when you win a lot of close games that one year, the next year you're not so lucky, and you end up losing all those first game where them games you won, you turn into losses.
Or even if you lose half of those again, it still makes your record that much worse.
Yeah, i.e. 2016, Raiders went 12-4. A lot of close games coming down to the end. That next year, lost a lot of close games. So I mean,
so that's the coach and all. My last question for you and the Raiders is the QB. Are you set with Carr?
I don't know if
is that the guy to take you to a title? Is that the guy to get you there?
This is my take on the Raiders with Carr.
Here comes Liam, by the way. Okay. Go ahead.
Here's my take with Raiders with Carr.
Mm-hmm.
If you can find somebody better, yeah, you go ahead and get him. But if you get rid of Carr and you're getting somebody worse or somebody you're not sure of, then
what's up, Liam?
Yeah, there's no way.
Long time no see, my guys. How we doing?
Pretty good.
Not too bad, man. How are you? What's up, dog?
I set him for a nap now.
No, I hear you, Lamar, and that makes sense. But when you say unless somebody better, like, are you talking about one of those big time name guys that I'm gonna just say it, they're available because we know Russell Wilson is not going back to Seattle, right?
Yeah.
We all say that he's out there, right?
Yeah.
We got Rodgers. He's going to be out there, right? He's not staying in Green Bay, is he? Come on.
No, I don't think so.
Anybody? So is that what you're talking about? If they can land one of them, a Watson, somebody, then you move on from Carr. But without that,
I don't. I don't want no. I mean, everybody. Some Raider fans want Huntley from the Ravens. Like, yeah, he played a couple good games, but we don't know. I don't want that.
Really?
Yeah.
I actually, I'm pretty high on him myself. But
I mean, I like him. I mean, but I'm not going. I don't think he's gonna be better. I don't know. He ain't better than Carr.
Not throwing Carr out the door for that, though, right?
Yeah, no.
Liam, what do you think, man? Are the Raiders good with Carr, or are they going to move on?
I think
he's had quite a few years.
I think Carr is probably the best option they have, unless a Russell Wilson or a Deshaun Watson or an Aaron Rodgers theoretically wanted to come to Las Vegas. The only problem is now without Mayock, and I want to see who they hire as a GM and who they decide to hire as a coach, because there's pieces in place, but it just feels like a lot of the Raiders, talent over the past 3 or 4 years has just been allocated in some really weird places. And there's, rumblings that, Mayock is hitting on these later picks in the draft, but Gruden had more of a say on the top picks. And then you end up with a Damon Arnett, and you end up with Alex Leatherwood in the first round, who, for all intents and purposes, just, really became a turnstile this past year for the Raiders offensive line. I think that it starts with, gaining a better infrastructure around Derek Carr, someone who has built up a lot of sweat equity and rapport with that team. He played really well this year, and he played in his first playoff game. It was competitive. I thought that he had a good year, and he clearly has something there with Renfro and with Waller. So right. I think it's about continuing to build the infrastructure around them and try and push as far away from the Gruden era as possible in these upcoming couple years.
Also, we can be honestly, and we can say the Raiders did not lose because of Carr. He did what he played his game, and I've been such a big what do you call it, disappointment? I don't know, down on him, not high on him at all. But man, the last part of the year and the way that he played, even in that game that they lost, I mean, he showed me something. And again, if they do move on, he can stay in the division and come on over to the orange and blue. I wouldn't be mad at him.
He wasn't even play on the field. The way that he kept that locker room together, I think
after that Gruden stuff,
serves a lot of value. I mean, a lot of quarterbacks, aside from the elite talents, not a lot of quarterbacks could have done what Derek Carr did with that team this year, still getting them to the playoffs in a division that has 2 quarterbacks that are better than him. So
right. And they could have folded easily, and nobody would have almost really blamed them after
No.
the
Yeah.
thing. I mean, they could have
Would've
folded it
blamed
in,
their-
and
would've
everybody
blamed
would have went, "Oh, it's not their fault. They'll be all right. They'll get a coach. They'll do, But instead, they fought and they did what they did. And I again, another sin for a Bronco fan to say this, but I applaud them. I applaud everything about them. So that's the Raiders. We were talking a little bit before you came on, Liam. But the other team that I wanted to get to, and I'm glad you're back now, is Philly. So what happened there in that Philly game, man? What I mean, we can go over the same conversation we just had because it's the same thing, right? Is Hurts your man? Is that who you're going with? How do you feel about that as a big time Philly fan? Is that your man?
I want to give Hurts one more year and use these 3 first-round picks to either trade one the next year and give ourselves 2 firsts for next year. But I definitely want to be building the team and especially the defense with Hurts in mind going into the next year. He showed me enough to be the starter and not waste all of our draft capital on one of these quarterbacks who's going to be on the market, especially with so many other holes in the team. But what they did was they did what they're supposed to do as a middle of the pack team. They beat the teams that they're worse than, except for one game against the Giants. And they lost to every single team that was better than them. So I think that, the strength of schedule played a factor in how many bad teams they played at the end of the season. They were able to get on a roll. And, could it have been, a public perception mirage more so than they were actually like a good team? They were never ready to stand up to Tampa. They're not in Tampa's class. They're not in Green Bay's class or the Rams' class. But what they did was what they were supposed to do. If Buffalo, who 3 weeks before the regular season was on the outside looking in, it didn't end up making the playoffs or lost in round 1. They had losses to the Jaguars this year, right? And they had another embarrassing loss that I know they got trounced by the Colts, but they had a bad loss to the Titans as well. That's a different story because they're a team with lofty expectations, and you're losing games 9-6 to the Jaguars. The Eagles beat all the teams they were supposed to beat and got crushed by the teams that were supposed to crush them. So I think they're exactly where they need to be. I like the progress that I saw out of Coach. And I think that we really need to focus on putting draft picks around this team. As far as what happened in the playoffs, the Eagles were down 31-0, and it's not even a top 3 most embarrassing loss of the weekend. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a win.
And we give that one hands down to that those boys with the star on their helmet, right? Is that what we do? Right?
Oh my God, it was so beautiful.
So-called America's team. I mean, I'm just saying.
Three hours later, after watching my Eagles just get their teeth kicked in, I forgot everything. It was worth its weight in gold.
Exactly. Hey, were either one of you guys surprised at all? Were you surprised at all to see that happen?
I picked San Fran, and I would have loved if San Fran crushed them, but I actually love that more because stupid Cowboys fans actually thought that they were working their way back into this is what they do every year. This game was a microcosm of a Cowboys fan season. They crawl their way back against teams that they probably should beat, and then they don't beat them, but they convince themselves that they're actually a good football team. Not saying that they're not a good football team, but they just can't compete in these sort of situations. They're at a disadvantage just from being the Cowboys.
But it's the same thing over and over every year, has been since Romo. I mean, it doesn't even, they get to the playoffs and something happens. Do you remember the year when Romo almost had it and then they fumbled the snap he does on the kick and they lose by the 1 point because they missed it? I mean, they won that game. All they had to do was kick that field goal and they won. So something happens to Dallas every single time they get in there. And if you're like me, I expected it to happen. I mean, I just expected them to go down.
They're a cursed franchise, and I love it.
It seems like it. Yep. Oh, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. So we have some great matchups this week. And by the way, let's get to Cincy and the Titans first, since it's the first game that's going to kick off. And Lamar, if you haven't gotten a chance to read his article that Liam put out today, okay, you're going to love that term. All right, because hit him with it, Liam. Tell him what it is.
So I said that the number 1 seed Titans, who, to my eye are getting, a lot of pretty decent disrespect for a number 1 overall seed. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They're the first 1 seed, they're the first non-Chiefs 1 seed since Patrick Mahomes became the starter in Kansas City. And I would say that they're the team, they're the 1 seed that's getting the most disrespect. since the Eagles in 2018. And I don't think the Eagles would have gotten that disrespect if Carson Wentz hadn't gotten hurt. You know, it's hard to believe in a 1 seed with a backup quarterback. I understand. So
Right.
I think that they're being shown the most disrespect in years. And I think part of it is due to this aura that's surrounding Joe Burrow. And I've deduced it into a term, and it's the NFL's epidemic. It's a good illness to have. It's a good disease. It's called emerging quarterback syndrome, EQBS. And basically, I loosely defined it as when an ascending quarterback captures the eye and the mind of the public, it has this ability to like mind meld you into forgetting other facets of the game. So I liken this game coming up to Super Bowl 54, where when I went into every single matchup between those Chiefs and the 49ers to me like led in every single category, right? They had a defensive line full of first team all pros. Raheem Mostert is coming off of, running the Packers out of the state of California. They got a really, really good secondary, and they got an up and coming linebacker in Fred Warner. The only decided advantage that I saw was at quarterback, and that was all I needed. I picked the Chiefs because they had Patrick Mahomes, even though everything else said Niners. Well, I'm doing that tomorrow for the Bengals. I'm taking it when everything else says Titans. I'm taking Joe Burrow and the Bengals because he just has this wave aura about him that to me just encapsulates everything. It's hard for me to pick against him, especially when he's not going up against this perceived juggernaut per se, kind of like, the Niners weren't in that Super Bowl. They weren't led by a quarterback that strikes fear in you. You know what I'm saying? And I think the same thing about Paul's top 5 quarterback, Ryan Tannehill. So
Yeah.
I'm taking the ascending stud quarterback talent who has this nasty case of EQBS, and I think he's going to ride it to a victory into the AFC Championship game.
See, I love it though. I love the term because it explains everything. It explains how 1 week you can watch the TV and Josh Allen is the next coming of Tom Brady, the greatest of all time or whatever, and then he has a bad game, and the very next week he's maybe a top 8 quarterback. They kind of put him down, and it's all because of that right there. If you're the flavor of the moment, when you see this flash, all of a sudden you're like, oh, that guy, oh, that's the guy right there. Oh my God, look, he's gonna, and then like Liam said, you forget. Well, his offensive line is missing, 3 of the 5 key guys that's on the line. The defense that he's facing happens to be one of the best at what they do. Like, there's other factors that would make you not care, but because there's this smiling face of the day on the other side, then you go with the Bengals, and so I just love that term, and it explains the NFL today to me in a nutshell, like all the way through. But getting back to the game though, like Lamar with Cincinnati and the Titans, is he going to be enough? Because he is missing some guys on the line. The Titans do have some pretty manly men up front. I have a feeling Joe's going to be running. He's going to be all over the place. Now, will Chase still get his plus, what is it right now, over 79? So, I mean, he's going to get that, right? Chase is going to get his. He knows how to do it. But what else do they got? What is Nixon going to help out? I mean, where do you see it going, Lamar?
Well, yeah, they're going to Chase and Burrow going to put up their stats. But this key going to come down to the Bengals stopping the run. They're stopping Henry. That's going to be the key of this game because, I mean, last week the Raiders got behind so they couldn't run the ball. But when they ran the ball, Josh Jacobs was gashing them. So they're going to have to stop the run. If they ain't going to stop the run, Burrow and Chase going to be sitting there on the sideline watching that clock run.
Yep. And
so it's going to be important. It's going to be important for the Cincinnati to come out and get up on them early.
Yep.
So Tannehill can make Tannehill throw. I mean, they got some receivers, but I mean, you want Tannehill passing that ball as much as possible. I don't care if he had Jerry Rice and T.O. a receiver because he bound like Garoppolo. He bound to make a couple overthrows and make a mistake.
Right. But when you have Henry, who all accounts over this week in practice has looked like himself, he's fresh. he's coming in fresh. Do you remember what he was doing before he left? It was the
Yeah.
fourth quarter where he was killing people. Like he was getting massive gains in the fourth
Yep.
quarter because he was just running you over by the time you were tired. Now what's going to happen when he's coming in with these juicy legs, bouncing all, fresh as can be, and that fourth quarter is going to be hell for the Bengals. That I mean it. I don't know, Liam.
It's gonna be made even worse because Larry Ogunjobi was put on IR, the run stuffing defensive tackle of the Cincinnati Bengals. And when you look at the strengths and weaknesses of the team, that defensive line in Tennessee, is it filled with like these like super like top tier names? Not necessarily. Like Jeffrey Simmons is really good. I still think he's a bit underrated, but he should be getting more respect as the years go on. And Bud Dupree's had a good season coming off of his injury in Pittsburgh. And Harold Landry's good too, but like you don't think of these dudes as like you don't think of them as Nick Bosa's, you don't think of them as Aaron Donalds, and
Right.
They really get after the quarterback, and the weakness of the Bengals is the offensive line. Like you said, you think Joe Burrow's going to be running. It's about Joe Burrow finding enough time to be able to make plays, because the Titans secondary can be had. Kevin Byard's an outstanding safety, but Elijah Molden didn't come around, I think, as much as they wanted to, even for a day 2 pick. And their top pick, Caleb Farley, isn't even playing. He had back issues, going back to Virginia Tech in college.
Yeah, I think their best defensive back is like their fourth real guy down, right? I mean,
right,
as far as being their best back. So
right, and they have a pretty good safety in Kevin Byard, but he's not going to be able to man up with Jamar Chase. That's just not going to happen.
No.
So
So
if Burrow has enough time, I think the Titans secondary can be had, especially with the weapons of the Bengals. But it is a matter of them holding up, because there is an opportunity for Joe to get hit a lot tomorrow.
yeah, he's just going to have to man up for that one. So who do you have winning, Lamar?
Yeah. I'm going to say Titans 24-23.
24-23.
Bengals 28-24.
28-24. You said Titans, right, Lamar?
Yeah.
Titans. Bengals. All right. I think the Bengals will pull it out. I think they're going to win by at least 4-6. I mean the Titans. Did I say that? Yeah, the Titans. I don't think that they're going to have an answer for the back is too much. I mean,
I'm excited to see him play.
You know what's funny is I say that and all that, and like you just watched Cam Akins come in and do his thing and look so miraculous after coming back like that, and then you see guys like Barkley, who came back for New York and he looked like half the guy he used to be. So like you really never know when a guy comes back off an injury, how he's going to perform. But I'm betting, just because of what we've seen of Henry over the last whatever. I mean, I'm betting on him being that guy. And again, nobody gets rest this late in the year. So to have the rest is, to me, he hasn't been hit. He hasn't been touched. I just think that's going to be too much to be going. But so the second game, I believe, will be the 49ers and the Packers, right? So that's classic NFC, classic battles that we've seen over the years, from all the greatest, from Favre's to Montana's to them all in there, right? So is this going to be one of those kind of battles, or is Rodgers just going to walk this one away?
I think this game's a lot closer than it might seem from a talent perspective, because I think we would both agree that the Packers are a lot more talented than the Niners. So what I think this comes down to really is just strength versus weakness, and kind of just schematic football. The Niners, it's the same thing that happened 2 years ago in the NFC Championship game. They don't have Raheem Mostert, but the Packers got ran off the field in that game, and Aaron Rodgers, he didn't play awfully, and he wasn't great, but he didn't really have a chance. And tomorrow, I think that he does have a chance. 1, it being in Green Bay. 2, Jimmy G's injuries. And 3, this just isn't the same Niners team. Aaron can't mess this up. And you know me. I'm a big Aaron Rodgers guy. He's my favorite football player ever. This is his chance to make to make and win another Super Bowl. Even if he doesn't win another Super Bowl, he has to make one. No all-time great quarterback just gets to one, right? Like, I mean, you can throw in the Marinos or what have you. It's just like for someone so great to watch his contemporaries make more Super Bowls than him. It's the same thing with Drew Brees. Russell Wilson, his first 3 years in the league, he's in more Super Bowls than Brees or Rodgers ever made. Patrick Mahomes, his third year starting, fourth year in the league, he's in more Super Bowls than Aaron Rodgers or Drew Brees has ever made. So Aaron knows that. I think he's known that all year. I think losing 38-3 to the Saints in week 1 was kind of like oh shit, all right, let's go. So I don't know what the offseason holds for him. I'm not sure if he knows what the offseason holds for him. What I do know is that he's laser focused going into this game against an injured 49ers team that should be had in a game that's going to be a lot closer than maybe it should be. But I think the Packers are getting healthy at the right time. They're getting Zadarius Smith back. They're getting Whitney Merciless back, which surely helps against, a run-heavy team. I hope Jair Alexander plays because, that's going to be a great matchup watching him, with Debo. But
Debo's just a beast. He's going to get his.
He's a different dude. He's so much fun to watch.
And what don't they let him do either? I mean, like I think he ran up and sold popcorn last week too. I mean, like the man does everything on that team.
If you told me that he could put the ball in harm's way less than Garoppolo throughout the course of a game, I would probably.
So Lamar, does Rodgers not want this just to show everybody, like on his way out, I'm going to get this Super Bowl and then say goodbye to you?
Yeah, you almost got to have it. Like Liam said, he got to win a Super Bowl. I'm almost thinking he got to get the Super Bowl. I'm almost thinking he got to win the Super Bowl this year. You can't keep having home field advantage and losing in the playoffs. It always seems to be them Saturday night games too. They be losing in the playoffs too, if I'm remembering correctly. But they always
cold in Green Bay at night. Come on.
Yeah, won't be like -4 or -9 tomorrow. But
I don't know why you live there. Why?
It does not serve well for a turnover-prone quarterback with a thumb and shoulder injury. But that's the problem. It only fits into the narrative working against Aaron Rodgers because if he lays an egg tomorrow, then he lost at home in the divisional round to a banged-up Jimmy G. There are so many deciding factors that play into the legacy thing here because we're never not going to think of him as one of the 2 or 3 greatest throwers.
So is his biggest pressure? I mean, is his biggest problem then going to be the pressure? Is that it? Like you got to win. If you lose this, now you're looking like
I'm not sure if that's necessarily the case for tomorrow. I think it's a little bit in the back of his head, like, yeah, we got to win. But that pressure really comes up when he sees another NFC Championship game. He won his first one. And since he's lost to Seattle, he's lost to the Niners, he's lost to the Bucks, he's lost to Atlanta. He can't lose another one. He's got to get there again, and he's got to win.
That would be so fun to watch, right? I mean, especially if it's Brady.
Key to Green Bay is stopping the Niners running game. They can slow that down, make Jimmy G throw that football in the cold weather with all the injuries. Then they got the Niners right where they want them. But if they come in and running all over them like they did in what year was that? Kaepernick was running all them quarterback keepers on them. I can't remember what year it was. 14.
That was 2012 because
something like that. 2012.
The Niners made the Super Bowl.
Yeah, 2012. Yeah, it was running up and down the field.
But isn't this the same narrative we heard last week going into Dallas? I mean, to me, San Francisco is one of those teams that if they actually keep themselves together for the game, a game, and play inside what they can, like they did last week, they can beat. I mean, I would not be totally shocked to see them make it to the Super Bowl.
No, me neither. They're fearlessly committed to who they are, and they play a certain style of football that lends itself to winning football if the cards break right. And a lot of times with good coaching and a solid defense, it's hard for those cards not to break right. A lot of the times when you see Niners lose games, it's at the hands of Jimmy G, or sometimes it's the late game gaffes of Kyle Shanahan. Those things, if those things aren't working in the Niners' favor, then they're going to lose tomorrow. But when Shanahan has good games and when Jimmy G protects the ball, more often than not, they win. It's why Jimmy G's become the poster boy for the quarterback wins. Is it a stat or not? Because clearly, like, you're not going to win with CJ Beathard. Jimmy G is better than those dudes. But like, how is this dude won 33 games and you never really felt like he was the biggest part of it? And then people still like hold on to the take that he's one of these top quarterbacks because his team wins games. So what is he, a top end game manager who turns the ball over? I don't know how to describe Jimmy G. What I do know is that he's going into a place tomorrow in conditions that I'm not sure he's ever really played in. And I don't think that it lends well for him.
Got you. So who are you taking?
I'm taking Packers, and I'm taking it slightly big. I'm going 31-17.
Ooh, Packers 31-17. Who you got, Lamar? Uh-oh.
Packers 21-17.
All right. Man, after all that I said like that and believe that San Francisco can do it, I think the Packers are going to win it. And I think so only because of what we said. I think there's too much there right now. Rodgers has talked too much. Everything's been too much this year. Now it's time you got to actually do something and show that all that shit you were talking all year long and all that stuff. Now's when you do it. And I think he has the talent, no doubt. I mean, you watch him play sometimes and he kind of blows your mind at some of the stuff that he does. You're like, is he going in slow motion? You know, like he looks like he's just doing stuff that he shouldn't be able to do in that scheme of things. So he's great at what he does. I'm going to take the Packers. I think they are going to be. I think they'll win by 17 points. I don't know what it is, but I think they'll win by over 2 touchdowns. So that's the first night. That's great. That's a great Saturday. I can't wait for tomorrow's games myself to see that. But then we kick off on Sunday with Tampa Bay and the Rams. I mean, come on. Myself, I'm loving this. After that, what was it? Week 3, week 4? I don't remember, something like that. Yeah, week 3 where they played the first time, and Stafford showed off his weapons. Went in there and told the defense took them. That's the biggest key right there, was the defense got to Tom, like, I don't know, four times or so in that game. If they do that same thing this time, and this is a better defense than they had then. This is a much better defense than they had then. If they get to Brady that much again on Sunday morning, I don't see Brady getting out of this. Lamar, tell me.
Yes, they got some banged up offensive linemen too. But I mean, Brady gonna be Brady. You know, he's gonna be prepared and do what he needs to do to try to win. But Stafford gonna have to show up and play big. It's gonna come down to him. He can't be out there throwing interceptions. You gotta make all the throws. And Cam Akers being back too, that's a big lift for them.
See, and that's just it. Is I think I love Stafford's game. I always have. I think he is one of those, not just like we keep saying about Tannehill, but I really do believe Stafford's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I think he worked miracles with the shit he had in Detroit. All right. So to me, I mean, this is perfect, and I believe in what he's doing and all that. So I'm a Stafford fan, but Lamar, tell me, I mean, Liam, does he get it done this time?
I am taking the Rams to win, yeah, and I think it's more. It's not even just about, like you said, it's a better Rams defense, but it's also like a significantly worse Bucks offense. Maybe not by like statistics, but just by personnel.
No,
like,
for sure.
They're going to be without. I mean, like, I don't think he's going to go. I guess he could, but if he does, I'm sure he's going to be hampered. But Tristan Wirfs is huge. Like, he hasn't missed many. He hasn't missed any games, since he was a first round pick last year. He's one of the best right tackles in football immediately, and Brady has a lot of trust in him.
Yeah.
Last week when the Eagles were playing the Bucks, Ryan Kerrigan, who has been a ghost the entire year, has not done anything productive for the Eagles, was the best player on the field last week. As soon as Wirfs went down, he had 2 sacks. and Brady, who's notorious for getting the ball out quick. Who poses you more threat? The Rams defensive line or the Eagles? That's not even a question.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's not even a question. And if Jensen's a bit banged up too, and you have Aaron Donald coming up the middle, you got Von Miller on the edge, you got Leonard Floyd on the edge, and even if those can't get home,
That's nasty.
You can still get those coverage sacks because you have a pretty good secondary. I know their safety Taylor Rapp is out, but you have the best cornerback of this generation. And it's playing perfectly into the hands of the Rams. I think they have a coaching advantage too. I like Arians. I think McVay's better. So it's playing perfectly into the hands of the Rams. The Rams have won the last 2 meetings against the Bucs. Last year with Goff. This year, like you said, in Week 3. I'm taking the Rams, and I'm taking them by a touchdown in Tampa. I'm probably going to go something like 28-21. And I think that it's going to be hard for Brady unless they really are concerted in their efforts to get the ball out quickly. But then again, where's it going? You can't just target Gronk the whole game. And Mike Evans isn't really a get it out kind of quickly kind of receiver. He's a possession receiver. He goes up.
Right.
He goes down on the sidelines and go routes, or goes up and jumps for catch balls. Yep. I'm sorry, for jump balls. You're without Antonio Brown, and really being without Chris Godwin over the middle. That's where your short and intermediate passing game was at its most lethal. And you couple that with an insane defensive rush coming at you with a hampered offensive line and a quarterback who can't move.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a
45-year-old quarterback.
Worst possible concoction for Brady.
Real quick, in saying that, Gronk has got 5.5 for the over catches this week. He's got to at least get that though, right? Gronk's making that 5.5. I mean, he's going to get his 6 catches because who else is Brady going to throw to when he's got 2 seconds to throw the ball? He's going to be hitting.
Gronk could have something around 12 or 13 targets. You would think.
You would say, Lamar, how do you see this, man?
I got the Rams winning 28-24.
28-24. Does can I get you guys real quick? There is a great prop on the Cincinnati Titans game, and I just want you to tell me how crazy this is, okay? Joe Burrow goes over 276 yards. That's possible, right? He's going to try to throw. He's going to go like that, right? Tannehill under 239. I mean, with Henry running, and if they get that ground game and they get the lead, right, you can go under, right? And the Titans giving away 3.5 points. That prop right there is a plus 1,000.
Pretty good.
That's plausible, right? I mean, that's my most plausible one. But that's getting me back to the Tampa Bay. I just remembered that prop in my head though, and I had to get you guys' opinion because to me that one just seems like one of the best that I've seen in a long time. But Gronk will get over that 5.5, and Lamar, will Brady be able to hit the 280? On that Rams defense, no offensive line.
Yeah, I say it's still a good chance because if they down, he gonna have to throw.
And
you can see it throwing Brady throwing 50 times this game. If they get down, he gonna throw. They're gonna go out. They're gonna go out with him.
And we don't know the status of Leonard Fournette either, which plays into a more pass heavy attack. When the pocket collapses as fast as it might this game, what Brady's going to look for is those short routes, but he's also going to look for his running backs out of the backfield, and he feels really good about Fournette as a receiver. So that plays a big factor in this too, because he's kind of like a safety blanket. And for an immobile quarterback, he's going to be looking for his safe zones as much as possible. And if those avenues are restricted by a really, really aggressive and honestly overmatching Rams defense at this point, then Brady's in for a really, really long day, especially if they get down.
For sure. So everybody's got the Rams. Everybody going Rams.
Pretty unbelievable. We're all picking against Tom Brady.
I know. I was gonna say I want to take Tom so bad though. Like I feel like you bet against Tom Brady and you lose. But I don't know if there's any team that can do it. I just see the Rams are built.
And the Rams are. And
I think the Rams are going to the bowl. I think it doesn't matter.
They pretty much got to. They mortgage all their future. They need to. I mean, if they lose, they got to start looking. I mean, if they lose, you got to start looking. They're gonna start looking at McVay sideways. Like, hey, man, we put
I mean, you wanted all of that for this 1 year to be in the Super Bowl. You're home in LA because you knew the money you were going to make at home in LA in the Super Bowl. So you did it all for that one thing. But I don't care if it's the Packers. I don't care what. I think they're going to win it. I think they're going to win the NFC anyway. That's my.
They say the buck stops here. Well, the Bucks are stopped here.
All right. Last but not least, because it could be the best game if they go all out at Chiefs and the Bills. Come on, man, Mahomes and what's his name?
Josh Allen.
God, why is that guy sitting with me? Yes, with Mahomes and Allen. Did they play this year already? Didn't they?
Week 5.
That's right, and it was
38-20 Bills.
Mm-hmm. That's my point. Can they do it again?
I'm not sure if they can do 38-20 again, but they can definitely win. You know, when we started this year, we put in our conference picks in like a little combined article that you made, Paul. And I picked Packers and Chiefs to make the Super Bowl. And you know my undying need for take integrity, but I'm abolishing it here because of my personal love for one Josh Allen. I think they're ready to overtake the Chiefs from a factor of one, if not now, when. But also because I think that this team at the margins is just a slightly more talented than the Chiefs. I think that the Bills play really good defense, even without Tre'Davious White. I think that Josh Allen, if he's not on the descent on the roller coaster that has been his career, then he looks like one of, if not the most talented players in all of football. What he can do, like he reminds you of Cam as a physical runner with swiftness and straight line speed a la Colin Kaepernick, and can throw the ball like Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers. The dude was like literally, if you could create the most perfect Madden player ever, that's what happened when Josh Allen was put on this earth. And I just think that tomorrow has to be the day for them. It really does. Because I think that they'd be favored over, Cincinnati or Tennessee, no matter who they played in the AFC Championship game. And not to say that the Chiefs are overlooking the Bills, but I think the Chiefs have some sort of confidence about them. Like, oh yeah, they beat us, but we were a different team then, and we've beaten them when it matters the most. I think the Bills are so focused, and they have been ever since that snowstorm or windstorm game against the Patriots. It's going to be such an amazing game. I've been waiting for it since last week, and I think that the Bills take it home.
True, but that was going to be my point coming up, is that it is a different team. They're both different teams from when they played that first game. The Chiefs were looking shoddy, looking like that people were talking about, are they the same team, blah 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 blah, and right now too, the Bills, they got to be one of the hottest teams out there. Their defense is just the kind of defense that can take Mahomes out of his game. So by the way, I think the prop on Allen is 38 yards over rushing. Are we going to give Josh over 38 rushing?
Definitely.
Pretty easy, right? Lamar, how do you see this going down, man?
I got the Bills winning, but not by much, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Chiefs won. I mean, this is like, I remember these games like it was like when Brady was with the Patriots. Like, okay, no matter how the team was, Patriots always gonna have a shot because of Brady. The Chiefs always gonna have a shot because of Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I would say, what about the weather? But I mean, it gets pretty damn cold in Kansas City. But there's not much like Buffalo. Come on.
I mean, the Bills, like Liam, the Bills don't do it this year. I don't know when they can, because the Chiefs gonna reload and add some more pieces to that defense. The defense has been playing better ever since they got Melvin Ingram.
Definitely.
But I got the Bills winning 35-31.
35-31, huh? So this is a high scoring game. You got it going
so.
over what,
Yeah, I
66?
think
You
both
say?
teams gonna score. I mean,
Which I think would
quarterbacks.
take the over because I
Yeah.
believe it's like at
I
40.
think both quarterbacks gonna have good games.
And Liam, who do you got?
Give me Bills 32-28.
Bills 32-28. All right. So you're looking at a close game right there, though, huh? You think that's just over a field goal, huh? So
That's what we want, right? Like we want this game to to cap off the weekend of a beautiful divisional round of playoff football.
right,
And
which I believe there's a 3.5 point
such a
there.
great
So.
number.
Yeah, so much build up for this game. Hopefully, it don't disappoint.
Yeah, I know it'd be just like last week, huh? I mean, one of these guys is gonna blow them out. It's gonna be oh, it was so disappointing. like the matchups last week were just as good if you think about it. I mean,
Oh yeah, I didn't even have to really watch that Steelers and Chiefs game last week. I watched it for about a quarter and a half. Then after that TJ Watt touchdown, it was
I had so much faith though, and I'd never have faith in Ben. Never. Okay. I know what kind of quarterback he's been, but I said, you know what? They gave him that one opportunity. You're going to go out like he's going to go out there and shock somebody. He's going to. Oh my God, he went out there.
After the Steelers scored that touchdown on defense, like if the Steelers offense can show up, they can compete in this game. And after that,
and they didn't at all. Like, but by the way, guys, who quarterbacks Pittsburgh? Do they go looking for one? Do they got the one that's already there? What's his name? Is it Bissett? Am I right?
No, they ain't got nobody there. They're going to have to go draft one or trade for one or sign a free agent.
Right. Yeah. They're going to, it would probably benefit them. I'm not sure, of their tradable assets or what picks that they have, They probably have others. They're not really a big draft capital trading team, but they have a team that's set up that could win, right? With the right tinkers to the offensive line and maybe one more weapon, because no matter what we think of Claypool or Deontay Johnson, they're slightly unreliable when it comes to it. Juju's hurt a decent amount. They should be. I don't want any team to really go after Deshaun Watson until the cases are solved. But they're a team that should be looking at Deshaun, Russ, or Aaron probably before drafting someone, because they're not the Bucs, but they're kind of like the Bucs, or kind of like the 2015 Broncos that have everything in place and just needs that veteran QB to come in and really.
2021 Broncos.
That too. No, that too. That's true.
They have they got nothing. I don't even want to get into all that, but yeah, I'm with you on that. For sure. I think that's what they do too. I think they got to find somebody. They're that kind of a team. They're not really a team I don't see going and drafting or finding some young guy and then saying, "Hey, let's spend 3 years to make him into a quarterback." Those people in Pittsburgh won't do that. You know that. You're close enough to know the Pittsburgh.
I have a feel for their fan base.
Okay, so guys, we got Tampa Bay against Green Bay. We're saying, right, for the NFC, and we got the Titans and the Bill. The Rams. Yeah. I looked right at it, but said the opposite. Dyslexia. Okay, so yeah, the Rams and the Packers and the Titans and the Bills, right?
I got the Bengals.
What the? Okay. But you took the Titans, right? Lamar?
Yeah.
Okay. I just put both. I put L's. I need to distinguish. Okay. All right, then that's cool. I mean, either way, no matter what, you could swap any one of these teams. I think any which way it goes, and you're still going to get good games for
these games. All these games could go either way.
Right, and that is a testament to today's NFL.
And that's how it should be in the playoffs. Games supposed to go.
For the first time all year, though, even you notice that there would be a team who looked like they were going to be dominant. They have 2-week run at the top, and then they're back down. Baltimore. We thought Baltimore was going to be the team. they didn't make the playoffs. Like this year was so crazy on both
Yep.
sides of the conferences on, the widespread, of the league. Like it's been great.
How many years did it feel like Brady and the Pats just got a bye and then had like the easiest possible divisional round at home, and then you're one win away from the Super Bowl?
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
This is
Right.
the most like competitive and well-rounded divisional round that I can remember. Like
Right.
it's four awesome football games that no matter who wins sets up two awesome football games next week.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even if you're not a fan of any of these teams, if you just like football, then you're ready for whatever comes down. You know?
Absolutely.
And so yeah, that makes great. And the ratings have been like unreal for the NFL right now.
Deservedly so.
I mean, seriously, like it's unreal to me at the popularity the NFL has over all other sports. We hear the NBA, we all know LeBron James, we all know that, man, they don't even scratch what the NFL does as far
Oh
as
yeah, you see the
viewership.
rate. You see the rate. You see the big differential in the ratings on Christmas Day.
Oh yeah, it was
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, the NBA got like 2 million that day, and then the each game was going 16, 18 million on the NFL.
Yeah.
Like it's not even remotely close. There's not even a competition there. And this is clearly an NFL country. We love our football, and we are going to get some of the best football I think we have all year this weekend and the next weekend, because those championship games are going to be great either which way too, which leads us to then it's going to be a good Super Bowl no matter which way that comes out as well. Correct? Am I right?
Definitely.
Well,
Yeah, definitely.
man, guys, it has been too long. I'm so glad we got to spit all this out today. I've been talking to my walls, and my walls just ain't talking back, so I needed somebody to say something to. So it was great to have you guys back here again and talking football, man. We need to do another one because the NBA is revving up. Trade deadline's coming. We started this whole shebang. I don't know if you guys remember, but it was almost a year ago because our very first one was the NBA trade deadline.
All right. Yeah.
So we're going to have to do another show coming up. Trade deadline's 3 weeks away, February 10th for the NBA. I know both of you are well into that. I'm sure we can get you to go off Lamar on them Lakers. And
Oh yeah.
I know me and you, Liam, can go back and forth on this Philadelphia situation because, oh boy, I saw an interview with Maury today that just about made my head explode. So,
Hey, want to know the main difference between Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic? Joel Embiid drops 50. Jokic only drops 49.
with the triple double, but yeah, nothing little that goes
Yeah.
with it. But yeah, that's all right. Just a little bit. All right, guys, man, we will do this again. Let's do it again soon. All right. Thank you guys for doing it again. Everybody, catch us at the everydayfan.com, and we will see you guys later.